What's going on, guys? Today's video is going to be about a widely debated topic in the car audio community. I've seen several videos posted here in the YouTube universe, as well as discussions on the Facebook pages, the Basshead groups. Everyone seems to have an opinion on this topic. I'm going to give you mine. I've been asked this a few times over on TikTok, and I've never really formally made a video about it. I kind of just, give a real quick answer, because I'm usually live when people ask it. When they ask, what is the best budget subwoofer? So I'll kind of try and get some info from them real quick and give them what I think would be a good woofer if I had their setup. But anyways, as far as the best budget subwoofer on the market, like I said, we could argue that to the cows come home, and you wouldn't be wrong and I wouldn't be wrong. But there are some that are better than others. But before we discuss that, if someone come up to me and ask me, yo, what is the best budget sub under X amount of dollars? I would turn around and ask them a few things. I'd be like, what's your budget? I know you said under X amount of dollars, but is that for the sub or for the entire system? Because you got to consider alternator, battery, wiring, enclosure, head unit, mids and highs, amps, all that stuff. Fuses, doors if you're going that far. So what is the budget for just the sub? And are we doing just one sub, or are we doing 10? Are we doing 10s? Are we doing 18s? What, that type stuff. So that's all stuff that needs to be considered. Also, what type of music do you listen to? Do you listen to rock? You got a bunch of punchy kick drum stuff? Because if that's the case, you're going to want something sealed and that has a really rapid response. Or do you like the lows? You listen to a lot of rap. You want something kind of windy that'll dig down into the teens. You're going to want to go ported, and you're going to want something with an FS and suspension that can reproduce that. So these are all questions you need to ask yourself, and considerations that need to be taken into account when you're talking about what is the best budget sub. Because there are multiple different subs in your budget that all perform differently. You could take 5 different subs that are $80 a piece from different manufacturers, stick them in the same box, and they will all perform differently. So the type of music you listen to is a huge thing, which kind of leads into the next point. What is the goals of this system? Is this just a daily beater where you want to listen to everything? Are you trying to get some SPL out of it? Are you trying to do hair tricks? Are you trying to move some air and get windy? This is all stuff that needs to be taken into account when talking about the best budget sub. Because again, there's subs out there that are much better for doing hair tricks than others, and then there's subs out there that are much better for listening to that rocky kick drum punchy stuff and can't do hair tricks for shit. So that's all stuff you gotta be aware of when talking about it. All that being said, there are a few budget subs I would consider over others, right? A few of those being right here. I know I'm gonna catch some hate for this. Scar. Okay, if you're brand new in the hobby, I'm sure you've already heard of Scar. They're a bit controversial. You're gonna probably catch some hate for running them, but hell with it. I mean, I just deal with it, suck it up. I love my Scars. It is what it is. But Scar has some really decent budget equipment. Like their EVL series, for the price point, is hard to beat. Sundown. The Sundown SA series. Arguably the best all-around sub for doing anything. That's one of the top ones I recommend for anybody, because that sub is pretty versatile. It can play damn near anything. And sound pretty good doing it. The DD Redline series. Not a lot of people run those, so you kind of get that uniqueness out of it. Sounds pretty good. Let's see what else. Deathbots has a entry-level series. It's fleeting me right now, but they're pretty inexpensive and they sound really good. But regardless of like the brands and manufacturers and stuff, that's just my opinions of some of the stuff I would try. But I urge you to do your own research. Everyone's going to tell you something different. Please don't take my word for it. dig and dig and do your own research and figure out what's going to work best for you and your system. Because I could tell you to get, you know, some Sundown SA12s, and you may hate them because you stuck them in a box that was too small because it was going in an under seat build in a single cab, you know, whatever. And it didn't have the airspace to breathe, and you didn't have the power to push to it, and now you're like, what the hell? You know, so there's so many variables to this and so many different ways to do it correctly. There is no cut and dry correct answer. There's a million correct ways to answer that question. That was just a few of the ones I like, but there's plenty other ones out there that are great budget subs. I mean, less than like sub 300, even under 200. You can find some decent smaller subs like 8s and 10s. Oh my gosh, there's all right, guys, sorry about that. I'm back. Seems like every time I film one of these, I get a phone call. But that's all I was really touching on today, was the whole hot button topic of the best budget subwoofer, or best budget subwoofer on the market, you know. And the true, honest answer to that is the best budget subwoofer is the one you can afford and that fits your goals. That's it. Like I said, there's a million different ways to do this, and you don't have to just take what other people say at face value for this is the best sub or this is the best sub. No, that's the best for them. It might work very well for them, but you might put that same sub in your car and you might be highly disappointed with it. So that's why I urge you guys, before you hit checkout on that sub you got sitting in your Amazon cart, do some research. Look at the specs. Ask yourselves the questions I mentioned earlier in the video. What kind of music you listen to? Are we going sealed or ported? How big a sub are we running? How many are we running? What are the goals of the setup? Are we trying to be loud? Are we trying to be windy? Are we trying to be good on the meter? Are we trying to have some trunk space? Like, what, you know, all of that needs to be answered before you purchase a sub. And spending a few hours and going through some research, watching other videos of other people with those subs might just save you the trouble of buying the wrong equipment. Because there's nothing worse than you hit checkout on that sub, you get it, you're excited, you go through all the work of installing it, and then you hate it. It sounds terrible. It doesn't do what you wanted it to do. It just fell on its face, and now you're in a situation where you gotta either return it if they'll let you, or you try and sell it secondhand, and now you gotta save up again and buy a correct sub. But that's all I was getting at today, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be sure to upload a video next week. I think I've already got a topic for that one picked out. So I'll see you guys then.